And I agree, it's a matter of education. I mean, I like to joke about the issue, but, you know, I'd also like to think that truth will prevail. And so, you know, what I'm engaged in, you know, I think that, you know, it may be arrogant, but I know it's, hopefully it's a fact. The truth is on our side, and so I'm not engaged in a propaganda war. You know, it's about dealing with real issues in real ways. And so if you know, I think filmmaking is beautiful. It can be very pragmatic. It can be very, you know, artistic. And I think that if you use it for the proper reasons, I mean, that's where real filmmaking comes into place. Are you always going to have propaganda? Sure, you're going to have propaganda. But I'd like to think that it's not a battle of, you know, me as a filmmaker versus someone else. It's just a matter of presenting things in a truthful way and expecting they'll stick. So.
And David, I think also a lot of filmmakers that I know are currently working on many, many genocide stories, and I think the best thing we can encourage them to do, and that they are doing, is just to overwhelm the world with their stories. Just let our stories be told, as we say at ADAA. And I don't know if it's necessarily our responsibility to react to a movie like that, but just to keep doing what we're doing and tell our stories, and hope that they will just, you know, be so many that they can't really oppose it. If something like that happens, I mean, I'm not sure if it's our responsibility or if it's a political responsibility to oppose that, but I think we can just do what we believe in and go forward and tell our stories. Yes, lady over there in the black hat.
So where you present in Latin America perceptions of Muslims from the left to the right, do you as a filmmaker take a position, or is there some pretense of objectivity? And also, when you were at Bolt, did you ever take a class with John Woo?
Oh no, I was actually, I studied history at Berkeley. That was my undergrad, and I went to UCLA Law. Yeah, so I was never at Bolt, even though I would love to have attended. As for the question, the funny thing is, I've been talking to interviewees for the last 2 months, and I talk to them almost on a daily basis, just trying to talk to new people. And the first thing that I do is allow them to interview me, because I need an extreme amount of trust. And one thing that I always tell them, unlike other documentary filmmakers that I know of, I don't want to be in the position where I'm not their friend afterwards. I don't want to interview them and then embarrass them or humiliate them and edit them in a way that makes them look stupid. I just want to present them in the way that they are. And so what I do is I allow them to get to know me. I tell them what my background is, who I am, why I'm doing what I'm trying to do. And so, and in that process, they learn about my politics and they learn about my goals. And in the film, I'm not going to appear in the film, you know, I'm not going to narrate it, it's not going to have narrators and or a narrator. And so they know all that. And even though my politics, you know, are clearly expressed to the interviewees, I'm going to try not to show that. The only agenda that I have is to create discussion by the film. And if you don't allow both sides to speak and to educate audiences about their own perspectives, that discussion isn't going to work. And so if I create a one-sided film in this instance, I think that it'll do more harm. I don't want to go to Berkeley and, you know, everyone goes, oh, you made a wonderful film, and, you know, I go home and afterwards. I want to go to, you know, places where they're actually, they may be hostile, you know, to what I believe in, and allow us to discuss these issues in a real way, in an honest way.
Yes, Lucy.
I wanted to follow up on a comment that Carla had made about working with J. Michael Hagopian. When I was working at the Museum of Television and Radio, I had approached the curatorial head there, Ron Simon, and asked him what he would, if he would agree to carry the J. Michael Hagopian film in the archives there, because the understanding was that anything that had run on network television would be eligible to be in the museum. And his answer was, well, I consider that to be propaganda, and so we can't carry that here in the museum. My question is, how do the panelists feel Hollywood is responding or would be responsive to films that relate to the Armenian case?
That's really shocking. do something about that. That's really kind of shocking, because Michael Hagopian is one of the, most respected, know his work. I mean, he's not, God, he would be really insulted by that. Well, but it's very instructive in a way, and I think, I don't know the answer. I think vigilance is the answer, and I think that every time that there's a case like this, that we as a community, and also we have to bring in the forces that are outside of our community. Somehow or another we have to get our allies together, the International Association of Genocide Scholars, all the different, the groups that somehow speak to these people making these decisions. I think when it just comes from the Armenian community, it has to come from the Armenian community in answer to that kind of action. But I think we need to join forces with those who historical whatever groups, and we have to really come down hard on that kind of thing. That's really just quite appalling. And I think that also I think that we've been beaten down for so many decades over things like this that there's a sense in our communities, oh, not again, oh yes, of course, and the motivation to fight, and it really is a fight when it comes to things like that. It's hard sometimes to mobilize our community to fight, and even something, to give you an example, the LA Times, where we've gone back and forth and back and forth. One arm doesn't know what the other's doing. The editorial policies would say genocide, and then they turn around and call it, they actually called Screamers in Film about the, I think they said the Turkish Holocaust. They had it crazy. They don't even know their own policy. And so where you have a success with the LA Times, where the editorial policy is to call it genocide, after much work by the community, Harvard Sassoonian, all these people who are really constantly working, they finally get a resolution, and then they go backwards. So it then requires us, as the community, to keep fighting and not to give in to that. And that's what's hard, is to maintain the struggle once you think you've achieved something, is to maintain it. So I don't know if that's an answer to the question, but I think that it's constant vigilance, and it's a desire to keep fighting, and to recognize that this is part of the political struggle. And the last analogy I would make is to the current resolution in Congress. I mean, I think as a community, we are, a lot of us have, extremely frustrated that we've had it passed so many times in committee, and then when it goes to the full House, with even a new Speaker of the House, that we still can't get a full vote. And I think the desire to give up and to say, okay, let's just drop this, is very strong. But I would argue that that's the same lesson is there, that we must maintain the fight, and to work even harder at those congressmen who were supporting the resolution and then changed their minds. We've got to go back to them, we've got to shame them, we've got to talk to them, we've got to go to their constituents, we've got to find new congressmen. I mean, it's a constant fight. That's what American politics is about. And I think we need to stand tall in this regard and not shrink back from it.
I agree that I think vigilance is definitely the answer, but I think it's for the whole community to be vigilant. It's just not, putting it on the shoulders of the artist or Hollywood. We need the whole community's support. Every single person should be vigilant about stuff like that. They should be writing letters to the, newspapers. And I think everybody should be that way in whatever they're doing. Any more questions? Yes, the lady right here.
I just had a question.